How do I get 100% P&T, permanent and total, total and permanent? This really all boils down to static conditions. In order for the VA to consider you 100 permanent and total VA disability, all of your service-connected disabilities need to be considered static. This question was recently asked, so I'm just going to go ahead and read it. And I will also add that I am 100% permanent and total. And when I reviewed my code sheet, all of my conditions are static, meaning they're never expected to improve. So that's really what this all comes down to. So I got my code sheet last week, and it stated that all my service-connected disabilities were static with no future exams. That's another term to look for. I looked up the VA definition for static, and it reads, a static disability is a disability that is considered permanent by its nature, history, and severity. It is assigned a permanent evaluation without the need for future examinations to determine whether or not the disability has improved. No future exams is a big buzzword here, and then static is another one. So we're going to get into these a little bit more. And you're going to find a lot of different information out there, and the reason why it's a little bit murky is it's kind of murky by nature, how you go about doing it. So one way a lot of veterans do is they get a 100% permanent and total VA disability letter from their doctor, or you could just request it yourself. At the end of the day, the VA makes this determination. Talking to other veterans, comparing your claim to somebody else's, never do that. Your situation is completely different than everybody else's. So, we can learn from each other, and that's exactly what we need to do. But just remember, something I did does not necessarily mean it's going to apply to you. In fact, I would probably go so far as to say it definitely won't apply to you. But you can use your experiences and what you learned from other veterans as a guideline, and see how that's going to fit into your own claim. And while we're speaking about veterans helping other veterans, please subscribe to the channel, click the like button on this video. The more these videos get out there, the more veterans we can help together in community. I appreciate all your support. By permanent, it means that they don't have any routine future review exams scheduled. This doesn't mean that they can't look at it at some point in the future if a different reason pops up. One reason that pops up a lot is you have a permanent condition for a 40% evaluation for your lower back, and then somewhere down the road you file a new claim for something completely different. If the VA rater is reviewing your medical records and there's something in there that suggests that your back is not that severely disabling, they would not be prevented from ordering another C&P exam. They aren't looking for something, but if something, they can't ignore something either. So if you go and you're going down the road through life and you're not aware of the fact that if you are permanent and total, or your condition is considered static, or no future exams are scheduled, every time you file a new claim, you open up your entire claim potentially to the rater. So if you haven't been going to the doctor and you give them some sort of reason to look at it a little bit closer, they absolutely can reduce you and change your condition from static to let's evaluate them in the future again. The VBA uses regulations and procedures in the M21 adjudication manual. The VA does not willy-nilly look for random veterans' claims to reduce for the hell of it. I understand people think that. It's just, they can't even get their claims filed that we have going on now. I don't think they have a special team in there reducing people. I think people make enough mistakes just like this where you have multiple static conditions and you're just not paying attention, and you open yourself up for reevaluation. And once you're sitting on the rater's desk, if you don't have proof of treatment and or somebody saying that you're getting better, I think that's what happens more often than not. They are looking for something, but they're not going to ignore it, right? I'm trying to throw a few different examples up here. Maybe something is exactly what your situation is. I mean, nothing's exactly, but fits in, so you understand it. So let me give you another example. If your 70% for PTSD is static and you put in a claim for migraines, which are non-static, and while looking at the evidence, the VSR rater sees that you're completely off your medications, functioning perfectly according to your psych notes, you may see an additional PTSD C&P exam pop up on you. But without an additional claim, you're not giving the VA rater any reason to even look at the claim. They're not just, like I said, combing through and just reviewing people willy-nilly. This isn't to say they're never going to, look at you in the future, but that's what permanent and total means. It's permanent and total, and it's static, and you have no future exams scheduled. So if that's where you're at, and just using myself as an example, that is where I am at. So I am going to continue seeking treatment for two reasons. I want to get better, and I don't want, somebody to reduce me in the future. I mean, I'm not going to give them a reason, but who knows? I have mental health conditions. I have a poor memory. Maybe I'll forget something, or I'll go off on a wild tangent and think that I need to file another claim or something like that. So they need proof to reduce you, and that's why I'm just going to be consistent and keep up on my treatment. It's really easy now. Everything's done through video conferencing, so it's worth my time to spend an hour a month with my VA shrink to maintain my $3,100 a month tax-free. I think going once a month is probably overkill for maintaining 100% permanent and total. But like I said, I'm also trying to get better, and I have a really good relationship with my VA shrink. So I go more than you need to for sure, but I would not just go in once a year for your annual physical if you're trying to maintain a 70% PTSD rating like I am. Go in more, at least 3 times a year, I would say. If you could do more than that, do more than that. More is better. If for whatever reason you file a claim or an increase or something like that, and they get in there, you're going to be locked up if you have plenty of visits and your condition hasn't changed. Let's take a look at the M21-1 adjudication manual and look at what it actually says and see what we can learn from it. This is under the section where it says, when not to schedule review examinations. Do not establish a future examination control in cases when the disability is static without material improvement over 5 years. The disability is permanent in character and of such nature that there is no likelihood of improvement. The veteran is over 55 years of age, except under unusual circumstances or where required by regulation. The evaluation is the prescribed scheduler minimum. Within its DC, the evaluation is 10% or less. Or the combined evaluation would not change even if the reexamination resulted in a reduced evaluation for one or more disabilities. Important. When deciding if a disability is static, only order a future examination if there is objective evidence stating clearly a disability is likely to improve. Let me sit on this part because this is a huge part of this. There's actually 2 huge parts that I kind of glazed over the age one. Age is a big factor. Again, like I said, there's not a team of people looking through people and looking for reasons to reduce you. 55 years of age is a bar when it comes to static. I mean, think about it. You're 55. I'm almost 52 years old, so I'm old as dirt. Um, Things just do not get better. When you're 30s and 40s, I've had things that haven't gotten better in 30 years, but this is the VA's rules, VA law in this case, the M21-1 adjudication manual, right? So 55 years old is a bar. So if I'm permanent total, but if I had whatever, just filed a claim, that's probably one of the reasons why they gave me P&T, to be honest with you, because by the time I would have been scheduled out for a 5-year evaluation, I would have been 56 years old. So that might have been one of the reasons why they gave it to me. I'm not sure, and I don't really care. I got it. The objective evidence stating clearly a disability is likely to improve. So subjective evidence is you talking. Objective evidence is a doctor talking. So if you are not talking to a doctor and he's saying, oh, yeah, he's getting better or he's likely to improve, then this isn't something that you have to worry about. So keep going and seeking treatment. But just remember, when we're talking about things like PTSD, some of these more serious things, I mean, obviously, amputations, you know what I mean? If you've gotten blown up and you have a TBI, I mean, these things aren't going to get better. These mental health conditions are like this, and there's a lot of them, and I'm not going to list them all out here. But just kind of use your best judgment, because there is no, you're not going to be able to look with your claim and go, where do I fit in? Just kind of, these are like guiding principles. If there's strong objective evidence stating that your disability is likely to improve, it's possible for this to change. Let's talk about this unusual circumstances verbiage. They can change a static condition if there's unusual circumstances. So let's get one. Let's talk about a Vietnam veteran. Let's just say he's 70, so he's way over 55, right? So he should be, in good shape because he's over 55. Let's say he's had diabetes for years. He goes in and it's way worse, and it's a wake-up call, and he's like, you know what? No more Mountain Dew and drinking and eating a bunch of shit. And he goes on an extreme diet and exercise regimen, and he's back to, his 21-year-old self, if that's even possible. You know what I mean? Loses a ton of weight, and he gets marked improvement. A VA future routine exam confirms that, he's in better shape. But he's lost a lot of weight. He looks better. And there is, marked improvement in his condition. And he's picked up in a future medical exam. They have these different markers. In addition to 55 years old, fraud is another one. There's like a 5-year rule, a 10-year rule, and a 20-year rule. This happens a lot too, and I see that, I'm at the 9-year mark. Now I got a reduction notice. So, the rater could be looking, getting ready for this 10-year review, and they decide to schedule a future exam based on the objective medical evidence in the veteran's record that shows that, he's, made severe improvement because he's lost so much weight and he's actually healthier. So these things happen. This is not so much for a permanent and total rating. This is more for a scheduler rating if you don't have permanent and total and you do have other routine exams set up. So just kind of keep all these things in mind.